Hi guys, it's Spirit on the Clean Living channel, Clean Living Lab. Let's get that straight. And I'm sitting here today because what I'm going to do is I'm growing one of my medicinal herbal gardens, and this particular one I focused on herbs all for inflammation. And there's other components, of course, that work for other things, but my focus was to find some things that were the best for inflammation, because here's why. All disease has some component of inflammation, right? The body senses something that's irritating it, and it activates your immune system, which sends out the antihistamines and all these chemicals and stuff to fight what it perceives as an invader. Inflammation just makes things bigger and bigger and bigger, and you got to get rid of that inflammation to get rid of the ailment. So that's why I think this is a really important garden for anybody to have. And it's really weird because you can do a great garden with just a few components. You don't have to have a big one. My garden is 1.5 by 36. I'll put a picture of it in the end. And the medicinal one isn't planted yet, but my watermelons and things aren't, and it's the same size container. So anyway, you can do it in a very small place. I have my hydroponics, which you can see behind me. I have my tomatoes, my cucumbers. They're all done hydroponically. And but some of them are actually in systems where water automates through them, and others are that don't do well with that. Or actually, I just use pots with a little tray like this under them, and then I put the medium, the hydroponic medium, in this or in this, depending on how well they fit the pot, either the top or in the tray. I prefer to bottom feed them. Okay, so anyway, so to make something hydroponic, what you do is I use the Fox Farm 70% coconut coir, which is that shredding, that stuff on a coconut tree. I pull some of it off of my own trees and add it, but I buy it because it's chopped up and easy, and it contains 30. And I don't have enough of the coconut coir off of my trees because it takes a lot. And then it also contains 30% perlite. I didn't use perlite, but when we moved south, it's so hot here that I bought the perlite because they dry out quicker. You'll see when we get to the point of doing hydroponics that the pots are very small in the systems, the automated systems, so they dry out real quick. The bigger ones, not so much. All right, so I use the coconut coir as my growing medium, and when we get to that, I'll go over the different liquids. But basically, this is in a reservoir. The other ones are in jugs, and or a watering pan. I mix them in both, a watering flower pot. And I go and I water them twice a day. Here in South Florida, I need it twice a day. And so I have my coco coir. What this anti-inflammatory garden is going to consist of is a lot of basils. And if you can't do any basils other than one, pick the holy basil, because that's the strongest for inflammation. But I'm also going to have ginger, and I actually bought through Amazon some great organic ginger cores. Really easy. You plant them. You got to have ones with eyes on them, and you plant them and they grow, and that's real simple. It's not a hard thing to do. So I'll give you a link to where I got this. It wasn't that expensive. It was $20-some, but Tim and I eat a whole lot of ginger. So I will be planting 3 of these, and the rest we'll use in our cooking. All right, so ginger's the first thing. Now, ginger has what's called gingerols in them, okay? And also shogols that inhibit the pro-inflammatory cytokines and the COX enzymes, which are very similar to how a lot of pain relievers, over-the-counter and prescription pain relievers, work. And so ginger reduces joint swelling, pain, and stiffness, while it improves your circulation, overall circulation too. So if you can't grow it, that's fine. But, and this is my first time growing it, I have to tell you that. So we'll see in a couple months how it goes. But we buy it all the time in the store. Ginger, in my opinion, the organic isn't as important because it doesn't get the pesticides on them and the herbicides on them. Well, it could have the herbicides, I'm sorry, but it doesn't get the pesticides because the root is down in the bottom. If you can do organic, of course, do it. That's why I'm growing it. Buy it in the stores if you want some relief from your aches and pains. So another component of it is going to be rosemary. And rosemary has something called rosmarinic acid in it, as well as carnosic acid in it. They're both really strong antioxidants and anti-inflammatory components, and they actually affect the immune response and reduces joint and muscle inflammation. So rosemary is a great thing also. You can keep it for the smell, for the relaxation in the tub. It's great in shampoos. We'll probably be using it once it gets growing. We'll use it in shampoos and stuff. So rosemary is going to be another component of my garden, but we're not going to grow that today or plant that today. And then another one, other than the basils, there's two other components other than the basils. And one is called gotu kola. This actually promotes collagen synthesis. So I have a feeling that that's going to be really good in some face stuff too. And it improves circulation, and it has anti-nociceptive or pain relief, pain reducing and anti-inflammatory actions. So this is kind of weird. When you look at certain drugs, okay, for instance, Tylenol. Let's compare Tylenol to aspirin, and you can see what the difference is here. Tylenol is strictly a pain reliever, an analgesic we call it. It masks the pain. It doesn't do anything to stop it. It masks it. And aspirin, on the other hand, and so we'll say that masking part of it is what we were talking about as far as the gotu. Was it the gotu kola? Yes. So that would be like the pain reducing components of it. Okay, it's kind of like taking Tylenol. But then there's the anti-inflammatory actions. Drugs like aspirin, other non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, okay? They actually remove the inflammation, and in the case of aspirin, they also have the analgesic. So aspirin is a twofold, and that's why it works so good when you kind of mix them. You know how they're now using that regimen of mixing aspirin, or actually it's not the aspirin, but aspirin would work. It's the other one that I can't think of, with the Tylenol. And so what happens is you have the anti-inflammatory effects of the aspirin or the ibuprofen. Darn, I hate when I get those things, but the ibuprofen. So when you use that, you get the anti-inflammatory effects, and then as well as the pain reducing, and then you hit it with a double dose of the pain relief in about 3 or 4 hours with the Tylenol, and that's why it seems to be so effective. So that's what's so important about the gotu kola. It's really, really good, and it's got the collagen synthesis and the anti-inflammatory and pain. So we're gonna grow some of that, or I am, and then lemongrass. Okay, lemongrass makes a wonderful tea. You can use it in your cooking. Let's say if you're a meat eater and you're eating chicken, you can use lemongrass chicken. It's used a lot in Asian cuisine, so you might want to look up some Asian recipes. They'll all have it in it, but it's got really good. I have to be careful on my words here. Healthful effects, okay? So the lemongrass also reduces inflammation and pain, and it has a calming, digestive, and mild analgesic effect also. It makes a great tea. When I get to the garden, I'm gonna be, and we go over inflammation in general and how it works, I'm going to have some recipes for you that you can use these herbs in, and it's going to be great. But there's a tea that I'm going to pick, the strongest, the most compatible. You can't just start throwing things together, guys. There's incompatibilities. They affect each other, how they're absorbed. So it's got to be a certain way that it's done. And so anyway, so we're going to make that. I'm going to also make a strong anti-inflammatory salve, and I'm going to give you a cheat sheet on that anti-inflammatory salve today. But I'll do one later with all herbals, and then I'm going to make a homemade ginger candy. The ginger root that I talked about I eat ginger candy all the time to soothe and heal my digestive tract. And then there's going to be an anti-inflammatory tea as well, which will have ginger, rosemary, and some of the lemon grass in it. So there'll be different things like that. If you want to start ginger, what you do is you cut this into 2 or 3 pieces, okay? And whatever you have there, 2 or 3 pieces, but it's got to have at least one eye on each one. One eye where, and I haven't even figured out, I gotta look at some pictures of what an eye is, because I never really looked at them in that, but I'm assuming that the eye are these little bumps coming off on the end. But before I plant them, I'll certainly take some pictures and see what the eye of it is. Anyway, so they each have to have one, whatever piece you put in there's got to have one eye on it. And then you cut them and let them dry for 1 or 2 days to prevent rot. And then I'll plant it in my cocoa coir perlite mix. Cover it with, now this has to be planted 1 to 2 inches deep, so it's going to be planted relatively deep. And it needs to stay warm and consistently moist, but not wet. It'll take about 2 to 4 weeks for it to start sprouting. And then it will mature in 8 to 10 months. So it takes a while. How many times have we said, nature isn't fast? It's slow. We can do some hacks in the meantime of other things, and luckily we can buy components of stuff and make them until ours is ready. But a lot of this stuff here that you see is less than a month old that's behind me. So tomatoes are quick, cucumbers are quick, lots of things. Mint goes berserk. So there's lots of things, and that's also very good for digestion, but this is for inflammation we're doing. All right, so now I'm going to go over the various basils, because this is what this video is focusing on today. And let me just get them up here so I can make sure that I have there's going to be a little chart. As time goes on, I'm going to offer a membership that's going to have these various charts that you can print out and hang, keep in a book, whatever you want, where you can easily go to and say, okay, cinnamon basil, what is this good for? Or Thai. And I do have my book already out online. I went through and I picked the medicinal values of different things. Didn't do any graphics because it's not a printable book and so forth. But it has a lot of good information. Or you can join the channel when I get this thing going. But this one will have a freebie on it with the chart of the basils themselves. All right, so let's go. So I bought this little kit. I've used the big trays before, and I have some old ones. But they got old, and they started cracking, and plus they're so long, you know, that you have lots of long rows. You can't grow a few. So I decided to get these. They come in a pack of 10. It'll be linked in the description for you. It was 20-some bucks. Coming up, but they have a lot of good things in them. And here's why. So here's your reservoir. You keep this wet, right? This is where your little plants are your seedlings are gonna be propagating. And this right here is the lid, okay? To keep the moisture in. What I like about this set here is it comes with this little thing on the top, right? And you can actually adjust the humidity, which is really important because these guys want to be very, very moist when you're not soaking, not moldy, but they want to be moist when they're growing. You can adjust this. If they're too wet, you're starting to see some mold, open that up. And as the sprouts begin to come up, they need more air. So you open that up until they get to a couple leaves where they're ready to be transplanted into gardens, or in this case, into the bed. Okay, so this is really cool. It came with 10 of them, 10 of these trays like this, and there's 12 in each one. So that's 120 plants you get, you know, little trays. You can control it, you can reuse them. I like it. And I'll link it for you. So it also came, which I thought was really cool. Oh, and by the way, so that you guys, well, let me finish this. So it came with these little things too. A little thing to dig them out with a little cake cutter thing there. Make 2 holes if you want to put 2 in one. A 1-holer if you want to do that, and a little scoop. Well, I'm too impatient for this little scoop, so I take a bigger cup like this and start dumping it in. But it has all this stuff, which is really, really cool, and I haven't seen it elsewhere. I want to give you this. These seeds were hard to find. This is the Go-To Cola seeds, and you can't find them everywhere. You can't go to Home Depot and get those. Okay. Also, what I did for my basil is I bought something called Culinary Basil Seed Collection. And it has all of these in it. It has a packet of the Italian large leaf, sweet basil, and I already have those, so I'm not going to plant those today. But it also has spicy globe basil, Thai basil, which is a real good one for inflammation and health benefits, lime, which is, again, the indigestion is good, lemon basil. Here's the holy grail, holy basil. Okay, this is really the McDaddy of the basils as far as health concerns. And then it also comes with a dark opal. I didn't pay much, it'll be linked in the description, but it's a nice little selection of about every kind of basil you can have. And so I bought that, and some of them are duplicates of what I already have, but so what. Now what I was going to tell you is, there's hacks that we can do also. You don't have to wait for your herbs to grow to make something. I'm going to show you a quick hack towards the end of this. Two things that if you've got really bad inflammation, your arthritis hurts and all this stuff, I'm going to give you a couple things that I think are really good. One, you're actually going to make like a pharmacist kind of, okay? You're going to mix two things together, and that's how easy it is. You're taking a product that already exists and you're going to boost it with something else. Actually an anesthetic. So there's lots of options, and we don't have to wait for the herbs. The herbs are the purest. They don't have poisons in them, because whatever we pick up is going to have a poison. One of the things I'm going to show you is just pick up a spray. It'll be linked. I find is the best. It's just a menthol spray. You can grow menthol. Or you can take this, which has had the menthol taken out of it, had all of the, with chemicals, all these different solvents that took the menthol out of it, and then then it's got all of these aerosol things in there and all that can't be good either. And the same with the other products that are made. They're not pure. Plants, when you take a plant with health value, or some kind of specific effects that you're looking for, benefits, nature is just incredible, guys. So let's just say it's a chemo. There's a particular type of plant called periwinkle. It grows wild here in Florida, and it contains the vinblastine and the vincristine that some of our oldest chemos were made in. Well, here's the thing: when you take it out and you put that injection in your arm, Big Pharma used, like I said, all kinds of solvents to get that drug out of the plant. And when it did that, it also removed all of these other components that are in that plant. And guess what? They're not random components in the plant. These are things that the creator specifically put in there. So for instance, I would have to go through that particular one, and this is for demonstrative purposes only, but let's just say it's periwinkle, okay? Because I haven't used it personally, so I didn't really go into it. But in all probability, it has other things in there to prevent irritation of the gut as you're taking it. It will have things for anti-inflammatory. So it's kind of like the plant gives you those preventative things to make the chemo easier. Now when you get the chemos, they give you an anti-nauseant shot before, right? And they might even give you something for your stomach if you're taking something oral. So they give you a multitude of drugs to counteract the effects, because they have taken them all out of the plant when they isolated this chemo site. So that's why I love plants. But if you can't get them, hey, don't be in pain. We don't want you to be in pain. So there's some topical things. And topical absorption is not nearly as invasive or complete as oral or injectable absorption. So topical, I'm more lenient on. It's hot in Florida, guys. Okay. So what we got here is the tray. All right. So we'll do those recipes in a little bit. I put some of the cocoa coir in here. Usually I don't use my medium, and I call it a medium because it's not dirt. Please understand, you can't put dirt in a hydroponic system. It's coconut stuff. In fact, let me get it for you. If you happen to have coconut trees, or any palm. It doesn't even have to be coconut. There's this stuff around underneath the leaves that come up, and they're like this. Well, I pull it off. And this is the same thing as what you pay $30 for, or whatever it is here, maybe 40, but it's chopped up. So if you're in Florida or you have palm trees, California, wherever you are, this is cocoa coir, and it's beautiful. Take them off your trees. It's all natural. It's nature feeding nature. So it's a good thing, but when you don't have enough, you buy this. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about coconut, I'm not talking about throwing a coconut in there. I'm talking about off the tree. It's the bark of the coconut tree. So that's what we're doing here. Already have it in this. And I don't reuse it often, but in this case, I had something that never started. It never really got off to a start. So it didn't have any diseases in it. It didn't have any mold or anything like that. If you have a diseased plant of some kind, don't reuse the medium. You want to get fresh medium, because then whatever is in there, if you got mites or aphids or whatever, they're in the soil too. All right, so we fill these guys up. And actually, this has some chunks at the bottom of the cocoa coir. So we're not going to use that for these particular things. We use these for the bigger pots. The unshredded ones. All right, and we just have just like that. A little bit here. Now I start my seedlings on the hydroponic solution right off the bat rather than plain water. But you can start it on plain water. It doesn't matter. But I like to start them just so they don't get a shock, and I start it in a really weak solution for these little guys. And really, they don't need much with these tops on. I have a couple over here. I don't think you can see them, but I have a couple over here, and this is the rosemary and stuff. And as you can see, I think you can see, there's condensation all over the place, and this has still got the water that I put 2 days ago, so they stay really moist in here. It doesn't take a lot once you get them set up. All right, now here's the thing with basil. Oh, by the way, this little set that I told you about, which is a real pain in the neck sometimes. If you can't find, you have to buy them. They're easy, but if you don't have them, I used to take things, because I'm so notoriously cheap, and I used to take things and put little pieces of paper and stuff and try and put them, but these are plastic things. You can take some alcohol, and I use one of these, take it up, and now you know what you planted. You just do this in each one, because I'm only going to be doing 2 or 3 plants each of these in that thing, and some of them will go into the hydros if I can't fit them in there. The strongest will go there. But so it comes with this too, which is kind of a real benefit to me. All right, so we're only planting basil, and here's the thing about basil. Here's the holy basil. That's the one I want to make sure I get. The thing about basil is it has to be planted very close to the surface. So you don't. I'm not even going to use this thing, because that will put, as you can see, a 1 inch deep, and I don't want that. When I go into there, maybe, but not now. Tiniest of seeds for the holy basil. I don't know if you can see them. So I'm just going to take and put a few on the top of each of the first row, and I'm only doing 3 plants of each kind right now. Okay, and I just go holy basil, because I forget if I don't do it, and I just put that right there for now. All right, that's that. Another one that I want to be sure to get in here, which is really good, is Thai basil. And let me tell you here while I have these here. The holy basil is the strongest. It's got the eugenol, rosemary, and this is going to be in the chart that's going to be free for you guys to download. It's actually not download. I haven't got a place to download it yet, or if I do, I'll put it in a database, but it's going to be something that you can right-click and copy it. So anyway, the holy basil, wherever you just went, okay, looks fabulous. Beautiful dark flowers on it. It's got eugenol, rosmarinic acid, and then something called acamumosides and ursolic acids. And the component, the activity of those components is a strong anti-inflammatory and adaptogenic, antioxidant, and antimicrobial. Now, I eat basil almost every single day in every single thing I eat. If the flavor can take it, I always put fresh herbs in salads. I do have egg whites in the morning, and I'll put basil in them. I make sure I get lots of basil in me. The reason I do it is not for inflammation, but I do it for the anti-infective, antiviral, antibacterial, antiparasitic. Basil is really good for as an anti-infective. So, and basically it's all kinds, but some are stronger than others. So this basil is great, and it's best for arthritis, chronic stress, joint pain, and your immunity. It has the standout benefits are that it's a powerful adaptogen that reduces cortisol and stress. And it's a very strong anti-inflammatory and immune modulator. So if you grow no other basil, holy basil's the one. The next one we're going to do is the Thai basil. Now this one has eugenol in it, which is like in cloves. You know how they, the teeth, when some of these Red Cross tooth kit, it has that eugenol liquid that you poke that cotton in and you put it on that really sore tooth and it numbs it. That's what's in Thai basil, that same numbing thing. So it's going to be the same thing. We're going to just do it on the top, little baby seeds here. And I poured out too many. No sense doing too many, you know, because what you're going to have to find, now basil's kind of odd. If you keep tipping basil and keep cutting it right above the two leaves, that's kind of like a standard when you want things to split. You cut it right above a break there, two little leaves, and you cut it above that and it will split. And you cut each of those and it'll split again, and it gets bushy. So basil needs that to get bushy. You have to keep snipping it, and it's great because you can keep eating it. All right, so the Thai basil, we just put that in there. We're going to mark the thing on that. And so the eugenol and the methylchavicol, this one is strongest in the antimicrobial components, and also anti-inflammatory and analgesic. So remember, the analgesic is the one that covers the pain, and the anti-inflammatory is the one that gets to the root of the cause of the pain. So we're going to put Thai basil here. Better put them all in the same direction, huh? And I'm not a horticulturist, you know. I mean, I did take a class in, after I hated pharmacy, I then thought, well, maybe let me get into some natural stuff. And I did take a few classes actually, in herbal remedies and in horticulture. But I didn't use it for a super long time, and you know how that works. All right, so there's that. So the Thai basil, like I said, strong antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, and analgesic. It also has respiratory support. And it's really good for joint pain relief. So if you have respiratory issues, infections, headaches, things like that, you want to get away. Because remember, respiratory issues, what's happening there, guys? It's inflammation. All of the little sacs in your lungs and all of the holes where the air goes through get inflamed, and that cuts down the air supply. So anti-inflammatory is so many conditions can be helped, and certainly breathing conditions is one of them. So so that's the Thai basil if you have headaches, infections, for infections. And again, let me tell you this. If there's an active infection, I really want to go heavy, and I don't wait long. And we eat a lot of this prophylactically too. But garlic is great, and we eat at least 2 cloves of garlic if something is going around. Basil is not something that you can take and few natural products are something that you can just take like an antibiotic. I never say to anybody that to stop your medicines, okay? That's not how it works, because the herbal products take a long time. They're more preventative and adjunctive in addition to what's going to knock that problem out. However, if you start taking them now, you'll find the need and the medicines seem to be working better and better. And as the components in your bloodstream build up from the plants, you can work with your doctor to taper off your medicines. So herbs aren't meant to replace an active condition, okay? What they're meant to do is nourish your body and naturally and slowly to bring it back to the balanced state to prevent these ailments that we get. I want to be clear that I'm not giving any medical advice or anything like that. I'm just telling you how to live with nature as I believe the Creator intended, and how to get off the poisons that control our existence at this point. Nobody wants to be making themselves sick, but they unknowingly are. So the next thing that I think is really important, let's see. Antimicrobial, the Thai we got. It's really important. I think that we'll do the lemon and the lime, and the chart will have the benefit of the others too, of the dark opal and the spicy glow. But to me, that's I don't want to duplicate. I want to get as strong as I can in the anti-inflammatory, and they're a little weaker. So the next thing we're going to do is the lemon basil. I'm going to plant 4 of them here today for you. The go-to coal is another thing. You'll have to look up how to do that as far as the depth and stuff go, because I know that your time is limited, and I don't want to drag you on forever with something that bores you. But now I'm doing the lemon basil, okay? The lemon basil has something called citral in it. It has linalool and geraniol. Geraniol. Okay, so let's get those little seeds in there. And the lemon basil, those components that I just told you. Imagine, when I tell you these components, I'm telling you them for a reason. When I say linalool, okay, that's like saying the generic name of the drug that you might be on. It doesn't include all of the various alkaloids that the plant has. That's the active component that is going to do the heavy lifting for you, the anti-inflammatory effects. The other ones, again, are adjunctive. In addition, they mitigate any harm or because plants aren't, they're not infinitely safe. They're safer, okay? But you can overdose on plants. You can harm yourself with them if you don't know what you're doing. So in food, it's relatively benign, and you can't hurt yourself too much. But it's just something to, think about. With nature and with anything, more is not better, okay? Slow, takes its time. Don't sweat it, guys. You have to become part of this ecosystem that we call the universe, okay? And contribute to it, and it will nourish you. All right, so the lemon basil that we just did is an excellent anti-inflammatory, digestive, and antimicrobial, and antioxidant. You know how we're always looking for antioxidants? All of those effects are in this lemon basil. And we're just going to do the name here, lemon. All right. The lemon basil is great for digestive aid, nausea. So if you have lemon basil out there, you go out and you get it, you make a concoction for it, and you can treat nausea with it. Or you can actually, if you guys want something like that, maybe someday we'll make just something to keep on hand. The problem when you're using them, though, is without a lot of those chemicals, those stabilizing chemicals and stuff, there are sometimes long-term stability issues. So there are things that we can keep in our medicine cabinet. There are things we can keep in our cabinets to reach whenever we want to. But keep them fresh. You know what I'm saying? Try and keep them fresh. So it's also good for nausea, and it does have a more mild anti-inflammatory effect. So this one will be good if you got like icky digestion, and you're getting all of that acid reflux all the time and stuff like that. That's really good. And again, we talked about the acid reflux, the coffee, you know that it stretches out that sphincter between your stomach and sags it out. So you want to make sure you take it with food. You want to use a dark roast, and you want to, I personally make a latte if I have it, and dilute it. The last one we're going to do, let's see if it's a little different. That's the same, so let's not do the lime just yet. Cinnamon I already did, the cinnamon basil. And the cinnamon, just like the Thai, has eugenol in it and cinnamate. And that's already planted in one of these. I had some of that before I got this pack, so that's why I'm not using the cinnamon basil in here. But cinnamon basil, and it's yummy too, it makes a great tea. Anti-inflammatory, blood sugar support. If you're diabetic, make yourself use cinnamon basil every day. Make a tea out of it, or whatever. Get some in your food. If you're, and it will help balance your blood sugar. I'm not saying go off your medicines for your sugar. What I'm saying is, when you do things like this, I also drink a tea, a cleansing tea that I can put in there. It's called Cali tea. And I have a friend that, after 2 days of drinking Cali tea, her blood sugar, which was really out of control, started dropping. And she called me and she said, I can't believe my sugar's dropping after drinking this for 2 days. So there's lots of things you can do. And you don't stop your treatments, but what you do is you improve, and your doctor sees that, and he begins to decrease gradually the other ones. There's some that you just can't drop off immediately and cut out. It can actually kill you, so you don't want that. Let me just see here. You know what we are going to do? I think, didn't I have Italian large leaf here? I have sweet basil growing, but I'm going to do this last one's going to be Italian, okay, large leaf. And sweet basil also has these same things, and that's why I use so much of it. But I think if you're just starting, or you want to grow some of these for your benefit, these would be the ones that you want to include. The cinnamon basil, the holy basil, the Thai basil, the lemon basil, and the Italian. Okay, so the Italian has, again, got the rosmarinic acid, the linalool, the eugenol, and the ursolic acid. So that's why Italians put so much in their cooking. They're treating themselves at the same time. That one's got 4 different components in it, this one that we're doing, the Italian basil. It's antimicrobial, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and good for your digestion. As far as its antimicrobial effects, it's broad spectrum. And if you don't know, bugs, I call them, okay, bacteria, whatever. There's not one pill that you can take that will hit everyone, okay? What we do in pharmacy is that when one particular capsule, I'm being very careful with my words, so please understand that. When one particular capsule that you might be prescribed has a chance of hitting, say, 20 different, or there's not, 20's a lot, but let's say there's 10 different types of bacteria that are sensitive to it. That's what we might call a broad spectrum. It hits lots of different ones. A narrow spectrum is one that's very specific for a particular type of infection. So the Italian basil is broad spectrum. It hits lots of different bugs. And it also has it's also an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and good for the digestion. I might have said that, I'm sorry, these are a little tough. So it also supports your digestion and has mild anti-inflammatory effects. So this one is actually better for infections, the Italian. It's used as a preventative antimicrobial and for digestion and everyday wellness. So we put that, My other ones are over there. I'm not going to bother getting another one of these because you don't get as many of these as you do trays, but I have a whole pack of them over there. All right, so they got it. All of these are planted now. They got to go on the top, right? So what we do is we just sprinkle a little bit of dirt over each one because we don't want them to even be smashed down. We want them sitting on the top. And they also need light. So when we put this little top on them, we're going to, I'm going to put these in a sunny place. Some things need to be in the shade and in the dark to propagate. Basil wants some sun. They want to get started early. So we're going to take our basil after I get done with this, and I'm going to sit it in a sunny spot after I add its solution. And there you go. Just tap, 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 tap. All right, now, then what you do, so easy, you take this part out that's got your plants in, you go to the reservoir, and it just so happens that I always have some. Give me a sec. I didn't have it in my jug. I make a couple jugs of it to go around twice a day and do all these guys. I got to get them automated. I almost killed some things today. But I do have some in this, which I use for some of my containers. So I'm going to just put the solution in here. Okay. We put the solution. This is so easy, and it really makes growing this is propagating. We're not really growing. When we grow, we'll put it into its final. So we do this. That will suck up the water, and it will make these will become very wet. I start them out completely closed, so I close all the holes off because it needs to be very humid for them to propagate. And we've planted 4 basils. That basil pops up pretty quick. In less than a week or so, we should be seeing some basil. Little heads popping up. And that's that. Now, I wanted to show you a couple things, and what I'm going to do also is I'll put links to these. One thing that you can use if you've really got bad pain, and again, keep in mind, if you get yourself on this regimen of anti-inflammatory herbs, and maybe there's other things we might use too, but if you get yourself in that, like the ginger, you get yourself in, you make your little concoctions or you just eat it in your food, doesn't matter. But until that happens, until it kicks in, and until it grows, you don't have to remain in pain, guys. One of the best things I've found is, it's a menthol, and menthol is great, but this one is apparently something about it. It's more than the ingredient. It's the mechanism used to deliver it. The same menthol, okay, will act differently depending on exactly how it was formulated and how it's administered. So this here is BioFreeze. You may have heard of it, you may have not, but you have to be careful because there's 2 of them. And the one that is the strongest and seems to work the best is the Professional. So you got to be careful. You don't want the green bottle, you want the white bottle. BioFreeze Professional. This one I did when my mom was very sick, and actually made them for hemorrhoids of all things. She had been using Emu Aid Max. Okay, you can buy it online. I'll look for the price for you, but it has argentum in it. It has 10 times tea tree leaf oil in it. It has vitamin E in it. It has olive oil and emu oil. Let me tell you, the argentum is for bacteria. So especially for her when she was, we were dealing with, like I said, hemorrhoids, the bacteria control was really important. Not so important on just say arthritic stuff, but it's good. Then the tea tree oil, as we know, it also reduces germs. The vitamin E is soothing. The emu oil regenerates the skin, and the skin nourishment is done with the olive oil. Now here's the thing. This in itself is not, as you can see, anti-inflammatory. It's not. There's a couple things you can do with it, and this that I'm going to give you is not it is not the only product that you can make or do. This is just something I had sitting around that I had made, and I knew it helped her a lot. So what you do is you take this emu aid stuff, which is more of a medium and good for bad skin. I know some of you have talked about psoriasis. I don't know if you've used this or not, but if I had psoriasis, I might try this, okay? Because I'm looking at what's in it, and it actually seems pretty good. Now, what I do is, for pain, what I did for these hemorrhoids for pains, is and you can use this by itself too if you want to, but you want to put it in some kind of medium because it is a little strong. So this is the strongest you can get in a topical anesthetic without a prescription. And it's 20% benzocaine, which benzocaine is commonly used in pharmacy. We used it a whole lot in preparing products and so forth. So this is benzocaine, 20% benzocaine. What I do is I scoop this out. I get it on a little bowl, plate, whatever. Oh, wow, it smells cherry too, so it's kind of cool. And this is a really, really good topical anesthetic. You know what it is? It's the one when you go into the dentist's office and they're getting ready to rip your face up and pull a tooth out. They take and they put this and they sit it in your mouth. That's what they put, and it numbs it. So it's really good to numb anything. If you want to use it for your aches and pains and so forth, and any large period. So if you got a toothache, this will work. If you want to do that for pains, you can use something like this. This is good for the skin also, but it doesn't have the anti-inflammatory actions. So all you do is you take a plate. I use a spatula because I happen to have some, but you can use even a little tiny cooking spatula if you want. And you just dump both of these out onto the plate. You mix them up real good. Put them back in the containers. And now you have a beefed up product. What you can also do is you can buy that Red Cross toothache kit that I told you about, and you can use that as well. I believe that's benzocaine. No, that's eugenol. So that's that's right. That contains the eugenol, the clove oil. So the clove oil is something that you can also use if you want to take it away. You have to be careful though. Start slow, get stronger, because it can burn. These kind of things can burn you. This one won't. The benzocaine will not burn your skin. The eugenol potentially could. So you don't want to like throw a bunch of crap together, but give it, ask me let me know, give me some feedback, let me know if they're working, if they're not working, whatever. And so that's all I have for you today. Hang on. That's all I have for you today. Again, my name is Spirit. I was a pharmacist for over 30 years in multiple settings. So I've been cooking for a long time. And I was always fascinated with natural medicines. And so that was one of the things I love to do. I also worked in government regulation, and I saw how drugs are manufactured. So I have a real strong background in this area. I'm so thankful for those that share their time with me, and I hope that you'll subscribe, and also notifications. I found this out, and I'm going to say it for a little while until you guys get it, because I know everybody doesn't watch every video. But when you click that bell, you say, okay, I'm going to hit the subscribe, then I'm going to hit the bell. When you hit that bell, YouTube defaults it. And it defaults it to something, I forget what the exact language is, but it makes it sound like it's specific for you. And it may be. There's probably an algorithm based on everything you watch, and it decides if you've never seen something or watched something that I'm speaking about, such as Basil, okay, it might suppress this and say, oh, well, they're not interested in it. I don't want to send it to them. So they don't notify you. That's how the algorithms work. If you leave the default, when you click on that bell, that drop down will come, and you'll see a little check mark next to the second one. Go up to the first one, which says all. And then you'll just get the notice that I've put up a new video. If you want to look at it, look at it. If you don't, you don't. But at least you're not being told what to look at. You're not being... information is not being filtered that you might want to see. So please subscribe, share. We're trying to grow this channel. We've only got 50 of you guys right now, which is much smaller than the ExPharmacist. I have the ExPharmacist if you haven't been there yet, and that is linked in the description as well. here of this video and all of them, and that speaks more of, we look more at what's happening in the world, the political angles of what's happening, the psyops, we try to make you aware of what's going on so that it doesn't seem so scary, so that you understand what's really happening, and it will help us transition through all of this angst that we're going through in the world until we get to the golden age. So that's my goal in there, is to keep you guys abreast, let you know that the world, the sky is not falling, regardless of what some of these paid podcasters, paid by the deep state podcasters, are telling you. So it's to take away the fear of what's happening in the world today. And that's another channel that you want to go to. I do have over 110,000 people on that one. So go to that one, subscribe to this one, share so we can grow. And I'm always happy for comments and to talk to you guys. Hit the thumbs up if you like it. Hit the thumbs down if you hate it. And give me your input. I love you guys. I'm grateful for every one of you. And let's get healthy together. Okay?